your compensation in 2009 was $353,000. Is that correct?
I don't have the figures with me, but I don't want to.
Congratulations. In 2013, your compensation went up some $240,000. Your compensation we're showing in baseline tax returns is $590,000, correct?
That's not my annual compensation. My annual compensation is $520,000 a year.
I find it extremely hypocritical that Republicans criticize the salaries of Planned Parenthood officials when you have violated no laws, especially while these same Republicans completely ignore the CEOs of huge companies that are actually guilty of breaking the law.
I first would like to register my opposition and my objection to the chairman beating up on a woman, on our witness today, for making a good salary. In the entire time I've been in Congress, I've never seen a witness beaten up and questioned about their salary. Ms. Richards heads a distinguished organization providing health care services to millions of Americans, and I find it totally inappropriate and discriminatory.
I'm not clear on this. Do you defend the sale of baby body parts?
No. And I think that is really a total mischaracterization. Fetal tissue research, which, as I mentioned, was started, the whole commission that legalized and created the structure under fetal tissue research was started under the Reagan administration. And it is actually, what it does is facilitates fetal tissue donation. And that is actually, and as I said, fewer than 1% of our health centers do facilitate fetal tissue donation for the patient. But fetal tissue research has...
My time has run out. I just want to say this. It seems to me that the apology you offered was like what some criminals do. They're not really sorry for what they've done. They're sorry they got caught. And it seems to me that your apology is more because you got caught on these videos. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I respectfully disagree. Again, you created this slide. I have no idea what it is.
Well, it's the reduction over the course of years in pink. That's the reduction in the breast exams, and the red is the increase in the abortions. That's what's going on in your organization.
This is a slide that has never been shown to me before. I'm happy to look at it, but it absolutely does not reflect what's happening at Planned Parenthood.
You're going to deny that if we take those numbers out of your report?
I'm going to deny the slide that you've just shown me that no one has ever provided us before. We've provided you all the information about everything, all the services that Planned Parenthood provides, and it doesn't feel like we're trying to get to the truth here. You just showed me this. I'm happy to look at it.
I pulled those numbers directly out of your corporate reports.
Oh, excuse me, my lawyers are informing me that the source of this is actually Americans United for Life, which is an anti-abortion group, so I would check your source.
Then we will get to the bottom of the truth of that.
All right, that slide that was the centerpiece of the big dramatic confrontation came from an anti-abortion group, Americans United for Life. And just take a look at it for a moment. The numbers, as they are presented on this graphic, make no sense. The bigger number is below the smaller number. The chart implies that Planned Parenthood has been providing more abortions while cutting service on other services, which is not true. In fact, the number of STD tests and treatments the organization has given has actually gone up. Here's how that graphic, which is about cancer treatment, how that should look, as Vox pointed out, using the Planned Parenthood figures. You see the purple line is above the red line because that number on top is bigger than the number on the bottom.
Are we here simply because the ideological right wing of this Republican conference here in Congress, the dysfunction is manifested, simply so anti-woman's right to choose that they would bring you here for a fourth hearing? Or are we here because somebody believes that Planned Parenthood doesn't need federal reimbursement for the health care that it gives?
That was Congresswoman Bonnie Watson-Coleman defending the president of Planned Parenthood, Cecile Richards, at today's congressional hearing. Congresswoman, it was a pretty remarkable scene in that committee room. Just the level of tension, the tone that certain of your colleagues seem to take towards a witness. Obviously, heated exchanges aren't completely out of the ordinary. What did you make of it?
Well, I thought the tone that was established from the very beginning with our chairman sort of signaled to us that we were going to be going downhill for the rest of the day. I don't think that there was any issue of truth-seeking there. Certainly wasn't any investigation going on there. We had one witness. We had Cecile Richards, who handled herself in an exemplary manner, who was treated disrespectfully, wasn't given the opportunity to ask questions. And you know what I think that this was today? This was an illustration of what to do when you can't figure out what you're supposed to be doing as a majority. They're in disarray, they're dysfunctional. The only thing they can seem to agree on is that the right-wing minority within that conference is holding them hostage, and the only thing they can agree on is this fight against women. So we get to this hearing. First, we thought the hearing was about the videos. Well, we know that's blowing up and how bogus that has been. And there have been forensic studies that have established that you can't even rely upon those videos. So then the questioning got to be, well, do you really need money from the federal government to issue your services to women? And so they were all over the place because they did not have any rational reason for being in that hearing. And I asked them, how are you going to make a decision about whether or not to defund Planned Parenthood when you don't even know why you're here today?
Well, it also struck me that part of the issue here is there's such tremendous bad faith around the whole thing. I mean, the members, your Republican colleagues in that committee, they, for the most part, I think unanimously are opposed to abortion being legal. They think abortion is a great moral transgression. Planned Parenthood is an organization committed to ensuring that it's legal, safe. It provides the service to women. And so they don't like that. But because that is not an avenue they can productively go down, instead what you get is an attack on the organization as a whole from every direction, as if it's some big con game being run on its patients. So Planned Parenthood treated at least 2.7 million women last year, and men. Please let me add that they also treat men. Those patients primarily came from underserved areas where it's difficult to have access to health care, and they're very poor patients. So this Republican majority would choose to put that whole cohort of people in peril just to further its ideological dark age manifestation of fighting against a woman's right to choose. It is absolutely ludicrous, but when you fail to do your job, which is to help create jobs, to pass the civil rights, voting rights legislation, when you fail to bring an infrastructure bill, creating jobs that way, creating export-import banks so that we could create an economy, when you can't come together around issues that people actually need you to address, then you go to something that is so far extreme that represents to people who are paying attention that this is a dysfunctional majority that doesn't know how to govern. Congresswoman Bonnie Watson-Coleman, thank you very much.